Small personal.
Thanks to our foundation and all the work that Robert Schwartz and Dale Scanlon did. With the first million, 600,000 is going to go to remodel our sound center, which is analog right now. And so we're looking forward to being digital. Do you want to add about anything about the Morgan Freeman?
Oh, so the Hollywood Foreign Press gave us this grant. If you don't know the organization, they're behind the Golden Globe Awards. They're arguably the most influential. So as Martinez mentioned, we're going to be upgrading one of the three sound stations at the school. So they have great structure skeleton of the building, but two of the stations are actually digital already. The third is pretty much the set of analog. So we're going to upgrade this to state of the art. We actually have a site visit next week by Sony, which is just ready to jump into the 4K studio. So we're going to go to one of the studios on this little tour and see some students working on one of the three sound stations. So I got
We are naming it after Dick Clark, who has been a donor for years at this college. Also, Morgan Freeman actually worked at LA City College and graduated from LA City College, and we're naming one of the lecture halls after him for Hollywood, Florida.
It's a big deal for the college because it goes beyond the money. We're going to be working on screening series and speaker series, and we're talking about potentially broadcasting sort of an inside the actor studio type thing from here. We've already got interest from the broadcaster. So it's a really big deal. Internships, mentorships. And the Hollywood Foreign Press, we're actually adding one of their, actually the current president of the Hollywood Foreign Press is going to be joining our board of directors on the foundation side. So we're going to make sure that you stick with us.
We should also say that Herb Albert, though, has donated to, Herb Albert's foundation has also donated $300,000 for Clausen for our music students also. So we have scholarships, we have all kinds of special speakers that have been able to come thanks to this donation. And Herb Albert actually came to our college and met our students, and because of that, he increased the donation to $50,000. So we're really excited, and we're working on that to improve it. Let's go. She is our department chair for the music department. Busy working, I see.
I know, actually I have a class right now, so I had to put them on hold for a second, and I said that I had to come and greet you, so please welcome. You want to come upstairs? Should we take the elevator?
Some people can take the elevator, the rest will just walk. Where are we going to listen?
Let's go to the recital hall, please.
Okay, let's go upstairs to the recital hall.
If he doesn't know, we're going to be. Yeah. I know you do that. Wow, yeah, no kidding. Well. As of February this year, we waited over 4 years for this building, and I do want to still thank our students for being very patient with us. And this is only the second week that we are in this recital hall. As you can tell, this is acoustically built very well. We are in love with it every second. And the piano that's on stage, we actually have two brand new Steinway Model D concert grand. This one in particular is brand new, but it's donated by Richard Carpenter from the Carpenters. And so it is 1918 Steinway that is newly restored. Everything is brand new inside and outside, and it's absolutely exquisite. We have another one in storage that's getting acclimated because the pianos are very sensitive. And that was about $180,000, but it was purely donated by all our donors. We raised money over 10 years to purchase that piano. We're very lucky. We feel very blessed for our students to be able to provide instruments that really fit their talent. Our program, we have over 2,000 music majors and 400 full-time music majors each semester that transfer to a four-year school, conservatories, and we offer AA degrees, of course. And we were one of the first in the state to get our AAT degrees and TMC. So that is an excellent event for us, and we're very thrilled about that. We are in Los Angeles, East Los Angeles, Hollywood area, so obviously music is huge. We have huge commercial music area as well as classical. We offer applied music program. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with that, but that is something quite special. It is only for the transferring students. We offer full scholarships because we actually received the Herb Alpert Foundation donation, over $450,000 for 3 years. We received a huge grant, and they've both been here. Herb Alpert and David Alpert have both been here, and hopefully the grant will continue. But because of that, our students are getting free tuition if they apply and qualify with high GPA. The applied program started at 20, but now we're at 70, and we're hoping to raise that up to 100 in the near future. As you can see in the seats in front of you, there are names. These are all donations as well. And so if you'd like to donate, of course, we'd love to have you. These are brand new chairs, and I can't sleep at night because I'm worried about someone scratching the backs of these chairs and cushions. So I really have not been sleeping for the last 3 weeks or so, since this is over. Yes, so I check every little corner every single day. And so I can see how my life is going to be. I've been here 12 years at LA City College, and it's been a really wonderful journey. The best roller coaster ride, I always call it. We have the most diverse student body, and I really would not be anywhere else. I am an Angelino, but I studied in New York, and I came back, and I never left ever since I was at LA City College. So I wanted to thank this department for making me into a better instructor, better professor. I am a pianist, but I just hope that our students are able to learn from us the passion of music. That's what we teach the most. And of course, the grades are important, but without passion, you really can't be in music. So I hope you understand that. Today, we wanted to showcase one student. We have so many. There are two great, but I know you're short on time, so it was requested that we have a piano soloist. This is Uri Lee. She is one of our top Alpert scholars, and she will be performing, I think, Gershwin for us today. Something short? Okay, Gershwin, please. course, they're like my kids, and so I just want to show them off every second that I get a chance. Although I went to Juilliard School of Music myself, honestly, the talent here exceeds the expectations. So I'm just thrilled for all of them. I'd like to just, in a short moment, to invite a few of the opera scholars up to the front. Just a few minutes. We have over 20 opera scholars that receive full tuition for everything. And I just wanted to just let you know the students that we have. So I'd like for them to introduce really quickly your area and why you can.
Hi, I'm Andreas Lee, and I'm a classical guitarist. My emphasis is in the Romantic era of music, and I've been studying at LACC Music Academy this is my first semester in the Music Academy, but I've been here for 2 years.
Hello everyone, my name is Taria Ray. I am a vocal major, jazz vocal major. I've been in the department for about 2 years. I'm also applied, and it's like I wouldn't even choose another school. Yeah, it's wonderful here.
My name is Sean Jones. I'm a composition student in the applied program here. I can't express how grateful I am that I am getting this excellent education for free. Essentially, I'm almost getting paid to go to school here. It's incredible. And I'll transfer to likely Long Beach, TSU. And the same thing will happen there. Through the governor's board fee waiver and through financial aid, I'll still essentially be paid to go to school. And I just can't express how grateful I am for that.
My name is Darius Garachani, and I'm a classical composition major here. I'm getting the best education I could ever ask for from the best teachers who went to Juilliard and the best music schools out there for free. And even if I'm not in a class, they would be happy to offer any advice to me, and I'm grateful. I'm transferring to Cal State Northridge, but I don't think I'm going to get a better education there than here. So it's kind of sad.
I'd like to thank you for being here. I know this is just a recital hall, but we do have 35 practice rooms, something we've never had. That's the best part of this department, because they have to practice. The state mandated they have to practice 90 hours a semester. And for the last 4 years, we could not help them as much as we are now. We only had 10 practice rooms for the last 4 years. Now we have 35. We finally feel better. That part I can sleep at night. And so like I said, this whole entire building, I'm sorry that I can't show you everything, but we will see the electronic music lab really quickly if you'd like. It's on the way out. And this is the first year that we became an LACC Music Academy. And that's something we're very proud of, something that you don't hear from other community colleges. So I hope that you will come back and see the concert. We have concerts every evening in May and December. Every evening. So tonight we have one too. I know you're very busy, but really come back anytime. We're here. Thank you so much. We have a very huge number of electronic music classes that are for commercial music degrees and for certificates. So this is the first time, of course, we have 2 labs, 40 stations each, and these are all brand new. IMAX, everything is brand new. Students live in these 2 labs. and they don't have to go home, they can just come here anytime. We have lab hours all day, all week long, so that they can get their work done at school. Music majors usually live here about 7:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. And not exaggerating. We become a huge family. We call ourselves LACC Music Family for that reason, and I'm Mama Park because I like to meet them. So that's how we go in this school.
You live here as well?
I live here as well. I really do. They asked me if I have a cot in my office and where I can take a shower, because they say, you're the first one we see and the last person. So it's my home. It's my home for sure. I live here more than my own home.
Any questions? Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
now we're gonna walk across campus to the center.
Oh, okay, have a great time.
This is Jenny Barnhart, our department chairperson.
I'm chair of Cinema TV here at Los Angeles City College. Right. We're excited to have the group here. I want to show you our facility.
Great.
So,
We have a few more people.
all right, so we'll just wait for those people, but I'll tell you guys a little bit about us. We are of course, we're a two-year program, community college program. We're right under the Hollywood sign. We're the only program in LA where they can access stages and equipment like we have for community college tuition. Any given semester, we have over 1,000 students in the program in various classes. We have two different areas of specialization: cinema, which we used to call film, but it's single camera, so that's how movies and most TV commercials get made. And then we have multiple camera television, and that's live events, things like talk shows like The View, things like Olympics and sports, and so we're training on both of those. And as you know, we were just given a gift by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. So one of our big projects we were just meeting with this morning is upgrading one of our studios from analog to digital. So this building was built by Pereira and Associates. They built the Transamerica Pyramid in San Francisco, CBS Television City, and he was also on the team for the Odyssey restaurant at LAX, the restaurant that's up on the legs. So it's a very beautiful building and nice facility for our students, custom built for us in 1980. So we're going to walk some more, folks. Anybody got any questions before we proceed? All right. We're going to go to see first our large studio and then our second one where our students are working. So if you can follow me, it's going to be a short distance of our well-known graduates working in the industry. Each one of these posters represents a major job like editor, producer, cinematographer, writer.
Yeah, you know what?
Many of these professionals had LACC as their only film school. For example, Kevin Tent, that was nominated for an Oscar for editing The Descendants year before last, this was his only film school. So here you're going to see our digital studio with some of our students working. Some can go in the control room, probably the larger group should go here, and then some in the studio if they're online.
So thank you for joining us. Anyways, so I heard a rumor that you have, vacation in Hawaii. But, I heard that a dolphin attacked you. What's it about, man?
Oh no, it was a strange incident. I was with my girlfriend Iggy. You might have known her, yeah. I was with her. We were in the waiting pool, hanging around with the dolphins, and from there, it was a strange incident. The dolphins were going like around the waiting pool. I'm like, what are they doing? I told my girlfriend to get near her, and I'm like, get near her, and from there it was just a flash, blank. I didn't see nothing at all. And from there on, I woke up in the emergency room and there she was. It was all the news. You can catch the news. Yeah.
Why the dolphin did that to you guys?
Well, apparently the research, the guy in charge of the dolphins, it was their mating habit at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't tell me about that? So right now in this whole situation, trying to sue, this whole situation. Keep Wikipedia.
We have, that's awesome. We are out of time. So we'll be back with our other, guest, Blake Griffin. So good little commercials.
All right, take commercial. Yeah, ready to? All right, resolve to 2. Open. Ready to?
Yeah. Go ahead and sit back, watch us play basketball. We're still in it.
You get extra credit for that. You get a smiley face for that one.
So this, as Joni just said, this is a stage that's going to be completely upgraded to be state-of-the-art. So we're going to make those decisions and get that equipment in here as quickly as we can. And this is actually the stage that if we do this programming, it would be similar to Inside the Actor Studio, so it would essentially be a speaker series. We've got, this is a big sound stage, I can tell you, because I was in the business for 35 years.
Yep.
So if you put an audience this way, it would be basically as big as pretty much any Hollywood sound stage. So we're going to be able to broadcast from the sound stage, and as I said, we've already got interest from broadcasters to air something like that, and you can just imagine that if they say live from Los Angeles City College in the HFPA Center, see, I'm still learning how to say this, HFPA Center for Cinema and Television, it's a very, very big deal for the school, for the district, and actually for the community college system. So we're really proud of what we're going to be doing in the future with this.
Right, we've been meeting with equipment vendors all day this week, so that's a delightful problem to have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And you can see up there, our control room behind the glass is actually a 3-tier control room that was built to be kind of an observation area. So it's, in the business, we call this direct view, where they can actually look out and see what's happening in there.
We should really work with nursing and make this in an operating room.
I think that'd be great. Put the surgeon down here, it'd be wonderful.
Joni, can they take a peek at where you show the movies?
Yeah, sure.
I think that would
We've
be
got
nice, 'cause
one more stop on this tour.
Oh, okay. I've seen the producers.
Their final film, where they do sync sound and dialogue or a documentary. And so they were due today. So this is their first film, and this is our first Project 3 we're just in, and quite good. So we're on our way.
The students actually have to show their work, and then they have to explain it to the rest of the class. And any filmmaker can tell you that is a terrifying moment. Because a lot of us got into filmmaking because we were scared to be actors, and we thought we would be safe behind the camera, but then you have to talk about your work just the same. So we can project 35 millimeter and 60 millimeter film in here. We actually have a projectionist, and as well as digital. And a Blu-ray theater, we have, this room operates 6 days a week. And we have about 800 students in here on a typical week, sometimes watching movies, sometimes watching their own work. We have Saturday classes in here as well that are very popular. So 95-seat theater that we can fill up with various types of classes. So
Thank you.
and we have guests, we had a guest in here last night, for example. We have guest cinematographers, guest speakers in the industry, and they bring their material and screen it in here. So it's a nice facility for us. We're professional screening. Questions about the theater, anybody, or the facility before we have to leave?
Thank you.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
He started in November. Unfortunately, Dr. Francisco Rodriguez, who would have loved to have been here, got ill, and so he's not going to come. I'm sure it was the board meeting last night that ended about 9 that probably took him over. But he also has been busy at LA City College. We had a kinesiology opening ribbon cutting on Tuesday. We had a scholarship where we gave out over 800 scholarships. And so it's been a busy week, and he's been involved. He wanted me to introduce Dr. Bryce Harris, who's a good friend of his also, from being from Sacramento. I really feel that Dr. Bryce Harris really doesn't need an introduction because we all love him because of his work in student success and the different launch pads, the different software systems that have helped us so much in career technology that we've been asking for, and I say that because I've worked in the system over 40 years. We've been asking for it for years, and now to be able to say that you can get all this information online is a thrill. And anyway, we want to really thank him. But before I ask him up, I do want to introduce Greg Doolin. He is one of our graduates of our 10,000 business contract that we have, a grant that we received from Goldman Sachs. And it is his business, his small business, that is serving you lunch today.
I don't have much to say, but I hope you enjoy the food today. And if you get a taste for some good Southern home cooking, come see me on Crenshaw Boulevard and 48th Street. Thank you very much.
Well, today you got a touch of LA City. We are very successful in our, as you saw, in our music, in our cinema, and also in our theater program. And those of you who are local, you can get free tickets to the Cat on the Tin Roof. We have been for 7 years invited and won at the Kennedy Center for our theater program, so we're very, very excited about that. We have over 44 programs of study, and I will highlight that a little later because we're here to hear Dr. Bryce Harris. Please come on.
Thank you very much. Before I bring some comments, I really would like to bring to the podium the head of the Foundation for California's Community Colleges to make a couple of quick comments. Please join me in welcoming Keith Mills.
Thank you, Chancellor Harris. Welcome, everyone. We're really excited to see such a great group here for today's Chancellor's Circle Luncheon. I want to start by sending a very special thank you to our hosts, Los Angeles City College and Los Angeles Community College District. Thank you, President Renee Martinez. And a special thank you to Robert Schwartz, the Executive Director of LA Community College Foundation. We really appreciate the work that you and your team do behind the scenes to pull this off. These things are never easy, and we really appreciate all the work to have us here today. The tour was absolutely amazing, a wonderful group of faculty, really talented students, and it's always great for us at the statewide level to be here with you at the colleges and to meet your students and to see the really great work that's happening here at the local level. I also want to say a special congratulations to Robert Schwartz and the college and the team on the recent gift that we heard about on the tour from the Hollywood Foreign Press, $2 million, the largest gift that we have a number of my friends and colleagues here in the room with us today with foundations from throughout the state. If you are running a foundation or part of a foundation with one of our California community colleges, could you guys stand and be recognized? Extra money that comes in for things that maybe the state dollars aren't able to provide for, providing student scholarships and all sorts of wonderful support, outside support for our colleges. So thank you all for your camaraderie and for the work that you do every day to help bring philanthropic dollars to our California community colleges. We've been doing these Chancellor Circles for about a decade, and they're really a great opportunity to bring together the business community and our leadership of our California community colleges and really showcase the great work of our colleges, both the successes and our challenges from a statewide perspective. And these events really would not be possible without our very generous corporate sponsors and Chancellor Circle partners. And I want to take a couple of minutes to introduce two of our premier partners and ask if they would come up to the podium and say a few words. And I haven't seen Janet. Is Janet Hatter here with Pepsi? There's Janet in the back. Janet, would you come up and maybe say a few words about Pepsi? Been a great partner for the California community colleges. And I believe this is a Pepsi college, Pepsi college, so we will be having Pepsi products.
Thank you, Keith. My name is Janet Hatter, and I am the Southern California Key Account Manager for colleges and universities, serving the Orange County, LA County, and Ventura County markets. Pepsi's been a proud sponsor of the Foundation for California Community Colleges for several years now, and we're committed to supporting the organization and the community college system at the local level. Our vision and goal is to bring your campuses great brands, service, and provide business building solutions designed to drive sales and student satisfaction. We have partnerships with over 2/3 of the California community colleges, and I want to thank those of you who are currently part of the PepsiCo family, and hope that those of you who have not had a chance to partner with us Consider giving us an opportunity to discuss what we are all about and what we can do for your district and your campus. Thank you.
Invite Chuck Clunker from Vice President at Vanner Construction Management. Chuck.
Thank you. So great to be here, and always gratifying to take these tours and see the wonderful students and the opportunities that are presented to them. I mentioned the music student who said he probably is going to be disappointed transferring from here to CSU Northridge, and I think it's indicative of the kind of personal attention that students get and the opportunity that exists at community colleges almost for the taking, because it's such a student-oriented, such an affordable program here in California. Vanner CF has been serving community colleges and other education clients for 30 years. We're a program and construction manager. We like to get involved very early in bond programs so that there's good definition, good understanding of requirements, good budgeting, and then we work with clients to carry the program through managing the design and construction process, bid to local contractors, keep the money local, keep the enthusiasm locally, and hopefully finish programs on time and on budget, which only serves to further the interest in the next bond program. So thank you for having me here. We again appreciate the service we're able to provide to community colleges all these years.
We have a few other additional Chancellor Circle members here with us today, and I would say a quick recognition. Chantel Reynolds, Senior Director of State Policy Initiatives, and Keith Henry, Senior Assessment Manager for the College Board, and then Warren Kinsler, Senior Partner at Atkinson, Andelson, Loya, Root, and Romo. If you guys could stand and be recognized as well. We also have a special guest with us today from Gensler. Can our guest from Gensler stand and be recognized? This corporate support is so important to our system, and that these events would not be possible if we could just take one more moment and give a big round of applause for our sponsors. Thank you all. Spend just a couple of minutes talking about what's going on at the foundation. So many of you know the Foundation for California Community Colleges is the official nonprofit that supports the Chancellor's Office and the Board of Governors. So our mission is very broad. It's to benefit, support, and enhance the missions of the California community colleges. So our programs and services have really broad statewide reach, and everything we do is designed to benefit our students, our colleges, our college foundations, and the system as a whole. And so when we do our work, we really seek out opportunities that facilitate collaboration throughout the state, really accelerate innovation within our community colleges, and then increase system-wide resources. And we do that through a number of ways. We run entrepreneurial programs. Of course, we're involved in philanthropy. And we're also the awardee of a number of competitive state and federal grants and contracts. So any way that we can find to bring outside money into the system, that's what we're all about. I'm going to talk specifically about three of our programs really quickly. And if any of you have ever heard me speak before, you know I'm going to talk about College Buys. So College Buys is our cooperative aggregate purchasing program, and it really works to leverage the purchasing power of the system as a whole. And we save millions of dollars on everything from educational software for our students to furniture, equipment, technology solutions for our colleges. There's a couple of flyers on your table. Microsoft Office for $39.99. This is a screaming deal. You can't get it cheaper. Only available to our California community colleges. Students, faculty, staff, and administrators. There's also a great deal with Adobe, $169.99. You can't get it any cheaper for the Creative Cloud. This is especially useful in the arts areas. So I know you guys have a lot of art students here in LA. So I encourage you, there's flyers there on your table. Take them back to your campuses, share them with your students, share them with your colleagues, and let them know that these great deals are available. So as it relates to philanthropy, over the last several years, we've been primarily focused on supporting the California Community Colleges Student Success Initiative. And over the last several years, we've raised about $5 million at the statewide level to support statewide initiatives around promoting student success. And our most recent effort in this area has been the establishment of the Success Center for the California Community Colleges. And this was recently launched last year through a generous grant from the Kresge Foundation. So the Success Center is championed by Chancellor Harris and his executive team at the Chancellor's office, but it's advised by a really diverse group of statewide partners. And it's being designed to really act as a collaborative hub for projects around the state to really strengthen, coordinate, and amplify the efforts that are already underway at the local level around student success. We have a number of partners, Senate of the California Community Colleges, and I know there's a number of academic Senate reps here with us today. Thank you for your partnership. And then we also received a wide range of letters of support from community college chancellors and presidents throughout the state. So this was truly a statewide effort to come together to bring in these national funds to create this hub for student success. And not only does it provide additional resources for us to share our best practices and talk about kind of what the great work that we're doing with each other, it also gives us an opportunity and a seat at the national level. And I have to say, when I go to these national meetings, and there are 6 other success centers throughout the nation in other states, and we're all sitting around the table and we're talking about the work that we're doing in student success, I am so proud of the progress that we've made here, and honestly, it's been kind of fun to brag about the progress that we've made in California. So we should all be very proud about the work that we've done around student success. That work is not over. I know that there is a lot of work still happening at the local level, and we hope that the center will help provide additional resources and avenues to share best practices. And I'm going to end with one final program that I want to talk about, which is workforce development. So as the Board of Governors is continuing its work around student success and beginning to specifically focus on workforce development and career technical education, we're doing the same. So we're following suit and looking to raise additional money and resources in that area. And the great thing about workforce development is that it's been something that the foundation has been involved in really since our inception. So we have run, almost since our inception, an internship placement program that helps really provide recruitment solutions for employers, and that's called the Career Pathway Program, and there are brochures on the table there. So the Career Pathway Program, it really provides resources for employers to say yes to internships. We become the employer of record, we take on all the risk, we do all the payroll, and we've employed over 3,500 students through this program over the last decade, and it's fantastic. It provides a great platform for our employees to create their pipeline, and our students get a wonderful experience in these work-based learning opportunities and a little extra cash. These are paid internships, so really, really important. And then we recently launched a new technology tool. It's called Launchpad, which we're really, really excited about. Launchpad went live in November. It's basically a matching and badging technology tool, if you think about it, like the Match.com for student internships. So a student goes in and puts in their profile of what they're looking for. The employer goes in and puts their profile of what they're looking for. The algorithm in the back of the technology then creates the match. And then the rest is history. The students receive more internship opportunities. So the idea is to create more tools and resources to get employers to say yes to work-based learning and yes to paid internships. So we're really excited about the work that's happening at the statewide level. I really appreciate the opportunity to share some of that work with you. And with that, I will reintroduce Bryce Harris. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Keith. I think I'll try to do this without the microphone. It really is a pleasure to be here with you, and I know some of you are being modest about eating your lunch. Don't do that. I'm a recovering speech teacher, so I always used to tell my students the worst time of the day to actually make a speech is right after lunch when everybody's settling down for their nap. So as long as you're still eating, I figure you'll stay awake. It's really a pleasure to be in the Los Angeles district and specifically here at LA City. I want to thank Renee and Robert and all the staff here at the college for their hospitality. It's been wonderful. The tour we took is sort of like a back rub for those of us in academics to see those great programs and all those wonderful faculty members. I also our appreciation to our sponsors who are here today. We couldn't do this program without your financial support, and it really does provide me and our Chancellor's Office staff an opportunity to get out into the field in much smaller groups and talk about the work that we're doing. It's also a pleasure for me to introduce a member of the Board of Governors. We don't often get Board of Governor members who are able to attend this, but when you come to Los Angeles, you're fortunate because we have a number of them here. This particular member of the board is the immediate past president of the board. In addition to being a member of the Board of Governors, he's one of our distinguished faculty members and also a local community college trustee. Please welcome Dr. Manuel Bauer. Some of our foundation colleagues a moment ago. I'd like to ask a couple more groups to be acknowledged. You know, we have in the audience today a number of our academic senate leadership from colleges in the Los Angeles area. And for those of you who aren't familiar with higher education, the concept of participatory or shared governance is something we are quite passionate about in higher education. We really do believe that teaching and learning and working with our students is the primary responsibility of our faculty. And so these academic senate leaders who are with us today, and I don't have time to introduce each one of them individually, but I want to ask them to stand. They're the individuals who at each one of their colleges are responsible for working with our colleague CEOs and the leadership of the classified staff and other governance and administrative leaders to really make these colleges work and make sure they are responsive to our students. So please, academic senate presidents, would you all stand up and finally, I have a number of my colleagues, CEOs, who are with us today, and they're heading up these colleges, working with our faculty to be sort of right on the front line of delivering education to 2.1 million Californians. So, CEO colleagues, would you please stand and be acknowledged? What I'd like to do in the next few minutes is cover 3 or 4 different areas. I'd be remiss having the governor release the May revise about an hour or 2 hours ago if I didn't mention the state budget. By the way, I have to talk about the state budget not only when it's good like this, but I had to talk about it when it was crummy a few years ago. So it's really a pleasure to be able to tell you that earlier today, the governor recommended more than $600 million additional dollars for California's community college system. He's not here, but we should give him a round of applause. And if you've seen this weekend hugging for us, he's been a very, very good supporter of California's community colleges. Probably most of you know, but Jerry Brown's first elective office was to the Los Angeles Community College Board of Trustees. So he obviously got a good education many years ago, and he still believes in our colleges. I won't go into great detail, but we do have an email that came out right about the time the May revise was being released to tell you what the details are. Fortunately, the governor's recommending additional dollars to add back some of the classes that we had to take away during the Great Recession. You may not realize that we turned more than 500,000 Californians away. We saw our system go from a high point in 08-09 of about 2.7 million students down to somewhere between 2.1 and 2.2 million students. So a tremendous denial of access, and the governor, after Prop 30 passed, put an initial investment in adding classes back last year, more money for about 40,000 more students, and this should allow us to educate somewhere between 60 and 80,000 additional students in the coming year. So growth went up to 3%, which is really a miraculous addition for our colleges. In addition to that, the governor had recommended in January a pot of money to be used at the discretion of the colleges to help replace the terrible denial of access and the erosion of their core operating budgets their colleges experienced over the last few years. He augmented that by more than doubling it in the May revision. So again, that's money that will be used to help restore our salary schedules, to help prepare for the increases in all kinds of utility costs and the operations of the college, but also to help us begin to prepare for what we expect to be more than $400 million of ongoing expenses in PERS and STIRS retirement increases that are coming down the road in the next few years. So again, thankfully the governor understands that we've had a tremendous erosion of our operating budget, and we have tremendous expenses coming at us, and he's added more money in that regard. He put $148 million in one-time only money for maintenance and scheduled repair and equipment in our colleges. You saw some of the technology in this institution this morning, and you heard that it's going to take $600,000 to upgrade one of our sound stages on this campus. You can imagine when you multiply that times 112 colleges up and down this state, how expensive it is to keep our programs current. But we have to. We can't afford to have our students coming out of our colleges on yesterday's technology, entering the world of work, and expecting to be prepared. So that $148 million is a very important addition to our budget. In addition to that, he recommended an increase in our student success equity program. He added another $15 million to an institutional effectiveness unit that we have just started. He put a good amount of money in basic skills. And finally, he recommended $75 million for increased full-time faculty hiring in our system, which is very, very important to us. So all in all, it was a good day to be in California Community College. You bet. I want to begin talking specifically about some of our programs by reminding all of us of the two driving forces of our system over the last few years, and we think into the future. And those two are to restore that access that we've lost over the last several years. As I mentioned, we were 2.7 million students in 08-09, and those students just didn't stop wanting to go to college. They came to our colleges and found no courses available. So we had both students being turned away and the students that were in our colleges moving through much slower because they simply couldn't get the resources that Proposition 30 has provided us over the last couple of years have helped us begin to restore that access. And yet there are going to be a couple of downward pressures on our enrollment. One of those is a flattening high school graduation rate in California. And so we are seeing not a decline, but a slowing of the numbers of recent high school graduates that are coming to the colleges. In addition to that, as we know, the economy is picking up in the state, and that means more people are going back to work. And historically, American community college enrollment tends to run in opposition to the economy. When the economy tanks, more and more people want to come get a better education to be more competitive in the workforce. When it gets better, even though those people would like to be in our colleges, they have to put food on the table, so a lot of them go back to work. So those are the sort of downward pressures on our enrollment. However, we have a huge upward pressure on our enrollment. If you look historically at the growth of employment in this country, back in the 60s and the 70s when I was in high school and coming into higher education and ultimately into the world of work, a much smaller percentage of the new jobs created took an education beyond a high school diploma. However, if you fast forward to the early 90s, that crossed over the 50% threshold. About 56% of the new jobs in the early 90s required education beyond the high school diploma. And by 2025, we expect that number to approach 75 to 80% of the new jobs created require an education beyond a high school diploma. Now, if you stratify that and you drill down and you look at how many are going to require a graduate degree, the bachelor's degree, the associate degree, all of those areas are going to grow, but the fastest growing segment of new jobs in America in the future will be education beyond a high school diploma, but not necessarily the bachelor's degree, right where we are, the sweet spot, the associate degree, degrees and certificates that are applied, and the kind of work that our colleges are doing. And so the restoration of access, and being able to afford to offer the courses Californians need is a critical component of California's future. Just to give you a couple of interesting points, in America, 1 of every 5 students in an American public community college are enrolled in a California community college. And if you add UC and CSU into the mix, 1 in 8 students in American public higher education is enrolled in California. So that brings me to the second challenge and opportunity that we're facing, and that is to help our students succeed in greater and greater numbers. If you look at the competitiveness of the USA, you see some troubling information. When you look at the statistics across the globe for people gaining education beyond a high school diploma, specifically getting degrees and certificates or a bachelor's degree or higher, you find that among the oldster crowd, those of us that are, actually it's the 55 to 64 group, I like to say I have now become officially irrelevant because I crossed over that pathway. Among that oldest segment of our workforce, we are still 3rd in the globe in terms of higher education attainment. However, when you look at the statistics as the American workforce gets younger and younger, that number goes higher and higher. And now, among that 24 to 35 group, 25 to 34 group, we are now 14th in the globe in terms of the percentage of our population who have higher education attainment. So the fact is, the President of the United States, Governor Brown, leaders across this country have realized we have to both have more people attending higher education in America, and we have to have the ones that are here succeeding in greater and greater numbers. We have to get bigger and better at the same time. And that's why the resources the governor is recommending are so critical, not only to California community colleges, but frankly, if you look at those numbers I mentioned a moment ago about how many people in higher education are in California, we simply have to get this right. If we can get it right in California, if we can have 1 million more graduates by 2025, if we really can achieve the student success goals we've set for ourselves, then we will see California tremendously advantaged. And all of us know, as go California, so goes this country. So if we can get it right in California, it's going to have a dramatic impact on the country as well, and ultimately improve American global competitiveness dramatically. And that's why we had a board of governors back in 2011 who said, and that was in the height of the recession, we don't have any money, but let's go ahead and have a conversation about how we can improve student success. So they chartered a student success task force. They spent a year, 2011, doing that work, and in January of 2012, they made 22 recommendations to the Board of Governors. The Board of Governors approved them all, and we have since that time been about the business of doing them. We now have about 2/3 of those, actually about 70% of them completed, and by the end of this calendar year, we intend to have all 22 of those done. Now that doesn't mean, by the way, that our colleges are finished in December working on student success. The truth is, student success work in our colleges has been done since the day each one of these colleges was founded. That's what they've always been about. This initiative was really designed to try to marshal our forces and underscore the need for us to figure out how to deal with an increasingly challenged student body. I don't want to burden you with statistics, but let me give you just a couple more numbers. If students come to a California community college prepared, they're college students, they have a better than 70% chance of succeeding, which is competitive with a lot of selective institutions in this country. However, if they come to us in need of remediation in either math or English or both, their chance of succeeding drops to 48%, drops to 41%. The blended rate is 48%. What I don't like is we have an increasingly challenged student body that our faculty are tasked to work. So this initiative was really designed to get into the legislature and have the legislature give us some more power to work with students than we had in the past, and they succeeded in doing that. It was part of the case we used with Governor Brown and the voters in this state to get Proposition 30 passed, and that has passed. And now we have implemented those 22 recommendations, and I won't go into detail on them, but they're everything from improving the way we deliver basic skills And that doesn't mean a one-size-fits-all approach. Some of our colleges are compressing basic skills, some of them are modularizing it, some of them are accelerating it, but we know we have to move those students from the unprepared to the prepared column, because every time you move one of them over, their chance of succeeding skyrockets. So our faculty have been working tirelessly over the last several years on really ramping that kind of activity up. We obviously did some prioritization of enrollment, and we said to students, look, you really need to get an educational plan. We're developing a statewide online ed planning system so our students can help manage their own pathway to success. We know that if students declare a major quicker, they have a higher likelihood of succeeding. And that doesn't mean we don't want students to come and take some courses and experiment. Of course we do. But we don't want them to hang around forever. And we've said once you get past 100 units or so, you really are going to have to move to the back of the line. Well, that's incentivizing students to make a decision on what they want to study and get about the business of doing that, which we know will help them be more successful. So all of those initiatives have really changed the face of this system over the past several years, and will continue to do so in the future. Even though we'll finish those recommendations at the Chancellor's office by the end of December, our colleges will be implementing those programs for quite some time to come. Now, let me turn to the Chancellor's office and statewide. One of them is improving transfer. And I know that many of you realize that some of the programs you saw this morning are transfer-oriented programs. But let me take just a privilege of the podium for a minute and digress a bit about what you saw this morning. About 3 or 4 years ago, actually 4 or 5 years ago, when Schwarzenegger was governor, and there's some irony in this, the legislature at the time said, you know what, we don't want you colleges to emphasize athletics and the arts. And in fact, they began to disincentive our institutions in offering arts courses. And I must admit, when you have a governor that is an entertainer by profession, and when you look at the economy of the state of California, and you realize one of our biggest industries is entertainment, and one of our other big industries is recreation, you have to scratch your head and wonder why they wanted to de-emphasize those two programs. Well, our colleges worked really hard because we had to constrict our schedule tremendously. And we didn't tell colleges, you have to take out the arts and you have to take out recreation. We did do some things related to repeatability that I think made it harder on them. And we also tried to take out as much as we could courses that were around the periphery of our institutions, the kind of avocational programs and courses that the state simply didn't believe we could afford anymore. But we still have robust arts and athletic programs and recreational programs, and you saw a couple of those this morning. Now, I will admit to being somewhat biased. I was a theater faculty member years ago when I started this work, and I thought it was almost shocking when Renee held up that cat on a hot tin roof sign. I met my wife 44 years ago in December at an audition for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. By the way, she got the part and I did not. Surprising, and she went on in that particular show to go to the American College Theater Festival competition in Dallas, Texas. So it's, when I get home, I want one of those cards to show. I may get a better dinner than I had planned. The arts and entertainment industry and the recreational industry are but two examples that, and you saw the arts this morning, of the wonderful mix of programs and services that our colleges have. And they go all the way from mortuary science, and by the way, with the aging population, that's a growing program, to air traffic control, to culinary arts that you are seeing, and you're not actually eating a final exam, but you could do. So if you look at our colleges and the myriad of programs we offer, it's an exciting time. And our mission is a very broad one. We have not only transfer, but we have career occupational programs as well. I'll talk more about that in a moment. We still do some avocational training. We do a lot of basic skills work. And when you look at our workforce and economic development activities, they do customized training for business and industry. So we have a wide mission, but it wasn't wide enough. And a few months ago, Governor Brown signed legislation that added the community college bachelor's degree in California, and we are piloting 15 new bachelor's degrees. And the Board of Governors at their last meeting approved the first 12 of those. We will ask them for approval for 3 more next week at their meeting. And those programs all have to be up and running by the fall of 2017, and then they'll be evaluated, I think, in 2021 as pilots. And a lot of people think, well, gee, that's a creep of a mission for California's community colleges. But it's important that we all understand what's driving that change. And what is driving the change is an increasing, especially in specific areas, an increasing trend of employers to want more education and more credentials for entry-level employment. Now, the poster child for that is nursing. Now, we don't have any nursing bachelor's degree in this pilot group because of an agreement with California State University. But if you look across this country, increasingly associate degree nurses are having a hard time getting in the field because more and more hospitals are requiring a bachelor's degree. That is the case as well with a number of other allied health areas. But some others of these programs will include biomanufacturing, equine industry, mortuary science is one of the new bachelor degree programs, dental assisting and hygiene right here in the Los Angeles district. So a lot of really exciting programs and a very, I think, invigorating and exciting expansion of California's community college mission. Now, I wouldn't want anybody to think that a year from now or 2 years from now, hundreds of thousands of new bachelor degree folks are going to come out of our colleges. That won't be the case. These are 15 pilots. They will be run over the next few years. They probably will have the height of their enrollment, 80, 100, maybe as many as 150 students enrolled in those. And so it will take time, but I am very, very optimistic these programs are going to be immensely successful. And when they are, you probably will see more and more of them up and down the state. And a decade or 2 from now, you probably will see a huge number of bachelor degree students coming out of our colleges. One final note on that program. There's been a lot of rhetoric in the country about the $10,000 bachelor's degree, and in fact, this degree in California community colleges will cost somewhere between $10,000 and $11,000. So think about
bachelorette degree.
That's right. Think about the opportunity for our students to get a bachelor's degree in a high-demand area, because all of these have to have pretty clear labor market demands before the Board of Governors will approve them, for somewhere between $10,000 and $11,000. Let me transfer now to the topic that a lot of us in this room are very interested in, and that is improved transfer between the California community colleges and specifically the California State University. When you look at the success of our students, many of them, often more than half of them in a given one of our colleges, are at a California community college because that's their pathway to the bachelor's degree granting institutions. The largest receiver of our graduates in terms of transfer is the California State University. Certainly the UC takes a lot of our students. About 28% of the UC graduates come from a California community college, more than 50% of the CSU graduates. And then when you look at private institutions and public and private institutions out of state, many of our students go there as well. The then Chancellor of the CSU, Charlie Reed, and the then Chancellor of the California Community Colleges, Jack Scott, got together about 3.5 or 4 years ago and ultimately got legislation passed that required the streamlining of the transfer process between us and the CSU. Now, the legislation was easy compared to the work our faculty then had to do over the last 2 years when they added 1,600 new transfer degrees to California community colleges. That is a remarkable feat to create 1,600 new degrees in actually just a little bit more than 2 years. And by the way, the number as of today, I heard yesterday, is now about 1,750 new degrees, because that work still continues. So what that means is that a student in a California community college that wants to transfer to a CSU, if they follow and earn those transfer degrees, they can go to any one of the CSUs in the state that has that program and transfer with a full junior status. They don't have to go back and repeat courses. Now, prior to this, a lot of our students would find themselves having to repeat a course or two because the requirements for various different colleges and universities were somewhat different. But this program was so successful, or is so successful, that in the first year it was offered, only about 800 students took advantage of it. In year 2, that number grew to 5,000, and in the last year, more than 12,000 of our students used that pathway to transfer. I suspect you're going to see that number double again in the next year or so, probably only restricted by the ability of the CSU to afford to accept all those transfers, which certainly is a challenge. It's been so successful that the private institutions in California have now approached us about emulating that in the private universities, and President Napolitano just recently announced that they intend to have 10 the highest transfer degree in the UC this year, and an additional 10 next year that are similar to these degrees of transfer with guarantees. So it's an exciting time for our transfer students. And then let me wind up my formal comments by talking to you briefly about workforce and economic development. You heard Keith mention earlier that it is a new initiative of the Board of Governors. The Board of Governors looked at the success of the Student Success Task Force. And by the way, if you look at the history of strategic plans, I can tell you that the vast majority of them are dust collectors and that nobody ever actually does anything with them. But in this case, that Student Success Plan with 22 recommendations and all 22 getting done within 3 years said to the Board of Governors, well, you know, this is a lot of power we have. Maybe we ought to try that again. And so they chartered recently a task force on workforce, jobs, and a strong economy. And it is focused specifically on our career tech areas. Bill Scroggins is one of the presidents who serves on that group, and they've been meeting over the last several months. Prior to the task force getting together, we had about a dozen college conversations up and down the state, and then another half dozen town hall meetings. Now the task force has met. There are about 32 or 3 members, half of them from our system and half from the workforce community, employers and workforce investment boards. And they're going to come forward in time for us to go to the board in September of this year with recommendations on how we improve our career tech programs and our ability to generate a workforce for the state. About workforce development and the skills gap in America. But the talk is not a lot of value unless somebody does something about it. And so that's why this task force has been created. It's really trying to accomplish 4 things. First of all, we're trying to make sure that we can turn out graduates to fill high-value jobs that exist in California today. You often hear employers say, well, I got all these great jobs, but I don't have anybody skilled to fill them. So we're going to try to close that gap. Secondly, it's designed for California to become increasingly competitive globally. So we don't have to listen to folks talking about stealing jobs from California to go to Texas. When you look at California's business climate, it's a tough one. There's no doubt about that. It's hard to do business in California. It's expensive and it's regulatory. However, if you look at the study of why businesses make decisions to go to one place or another, it's not the tax structure or the regulations that helps them to make that decision. It is often the workforce. Can I go someplace and get the workers I need to do whatever I'm doing in my business? And so we believe this task force can help California again become competitive and start to attract businesses from other parts of the globe, and especially this country, to locate here in spite of a tough business climate. Third, we know that the largest generator of new jobs is small business. In fact, I was fascinated this morning when I read the story on the plane that now more than half of the new businesses created in this country are Hispanic-owned new businesses. And that gives you an idea about the excitement of creating small businesses. And so the third role of the task force is to help our students not only have the academic preparation they need, but the business savvy to start their own small business. Because if we can, again, help small businesses in California, we can ensure more and more employment, not only for our students, but for Californians in general. And then, finally, in order to accomplish those things, we have to figure out a better way to fund CTE education in this state. It's very, very difficult for our colleges. I said to the task force when they were meeting yesterday, every time you make a decision to add a program like this, and they tend to be high cost because they have equipment requirements, or they have student-to-faculty ratios that are lower than traditional areas, it's a business decision. Yes, none of us wants to see our colleges reduced to businesses, but we have to run these colleges effectively, or we can't continue to employ faculty and staff and offer the programs we do. So when we're going to make a decision to add a high-cost program, we have to have the assumption that there's going to be a demand for the graduates of that program, but we also have to have the understanding that the funding stream to support the program is going to be there for a while. And unfortunately, in California, in our boom-bust environment of finances, it makes starting new programs very difficult. Because about the time you see a time like we're in now, where there's quite a bit of money, and a college faculty and president are able to say, hey, let's risk some venture capital, and let's start a new program. And then 18 months later, the state's budget goes in the toilet, and the budgets of these colleges get cut dramatically. Then the colleges are stuck with finding a way to protect students as best they can. And often that means cutting higher cost programs that tend to have lower enrollment, and keeping programs that tend to have higher enrollment and lower costs. And so if you look at K-12 career tech education in California, you've seen it decimated over the last several decades. It's almost non-existent in a lot of high schools anymore. And part of that is because of that boom-bust of financing of K-12 education. So we need to figure out, and this task force is going to be focused on how we can ensure that if Bill Scroggins makes a decision to add a new high-cost program, he can have some expectation that the funding stream to support that program is going to be there until he gets to until it pays off. So it's an exciting time to be in California's community colleges. We are focused, as I said, most energetically on the restoration of access to these colleges. I really do believe California's community college system will have 3 million students or more by 2025. We do need to help students succeed in greater and greater numbers. We need to address the workforce needs of this state, and we have tremendous opportunities with this bachelor's degree and improved transfer. I couldn't be more bullish on this system than I am. It is truly a pleasure to serve as the chancellor of the system. I get the opportunity to represent these wonderful faculty that you met earlier today and those fabulous students that you saw in action. Thank you all very much. I've enjoyed the opportunity.